Opinionated and now caffeinated. Wake Up Warchant is fueled by DeLuna Coffee. Come explore our world of coffee. Founded in 2014 by the Lemmix family, Ed, Courtney, and their son, Brett, DeLuna Coffee is Florida State through and through. The pursuit of the perfect blend of coffee beans is a 365-day effort for the family, but they'll always find time to tailgate for their Noles in the autumn. Stand at attention for their red, white, and brew. In honor of armed forces, the Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, and Coast Guard, DeLuna has created this fair trade organic blend. Enjoy this premium French roast coffee and salute to the good old USA. Use the promo code WARCHANT15 for a 15% discount. Visit DeLunaCoffee.com and check out their Facebook and Instagram.
From Tally to Cali,
It's time
To wake up!
Wake up! Wake up!
WarChant.com is your ultimate Seminole sports source.
And this is Wake Up Warchant, fueled by DeLuna Coffee.
Coffee's for closers only.
Now here's WarChant.com's Aslan Hutchavandi.
And Corey Clark.
Wake up! What's up, everybody? It's Wake Up Warchant. It's fueled by DeLuna Coffee, DeLunaCoffee.com. Come explore our world of coffee. Use that promo code WARCHANT15 when you're over at DeLunaCoffee.com. Maybe doing some early Christmas shopping. Supply chain constraints are a real thing, America. We got to get through this. Do your shopping now so you're not a Grinch and your friends don't get great DeLuna gifts from you. Or maybe just give somebody the gift that is warchant.com for a whole year. Just one little promo code or like sign up or whatever. I don't know. Do we give gift cards out, Corey? Like, can you gift somebody a membership? I'm sure you can.
I would think you can, yeah. And if you can't, that needs to be something Gene hops on. But, yeah, I would assume there's a way to do that. It's a gift that keeps on giving the whole year round, like Jelly of the Month Club.
Well said. Well said. That's Corey Clark, everybody. He'll be at Corner Pocket later today with Jeff Cameron. I think maybe even Gene, myself, and Ira will be out there. I think we're supposed to do a group family company business meeting. Yeah, that's what we do, business
That's
meetings.
what they're called. Yeah.
Weekly business meeting. So we'll probably do it before the happy hour, which is 5 to 6 p.m., Corner Pocket, Appalachia Parkway, Tallahassee, Florida. So go on out there. Corey will probably be in the midst of, I don't know, like hour 16 of a bender after the Braves clinch the NLCS and head to the World Series for the first time since 1999. That's the one bad thing about recording this beforehand. Although people could be like, well, you guys could like record at 11 o'clock. Why? Give me a day off, everybody. Come on. Are you excited as we record this? I know it's kind of crazy to talk about because the game's over by the time everybody listens to this. But like going into Thursday evening's game, are you in a good place, Corey?
I think so. I'll let everybody know that I did not watch a single pitch on Wednesday night. Not
Really?
a single pitch. You told me they were up 2-0. I went on Twitter, and I followed the Atlanta Braves on Twitter, so I just went to their feed, and I updated it, and I saw how they got their 2-run lead. I updated again, and they were up 4-0. And I told Stephanie, I'm like, let's just watch a movie. There's no way I'm going to want to do this. You're not going to want to be around me. I know my weaknesses, man. And so, like, them having a lead and you have to hold it for 3 hours, it's just, I'm just a big baby.
Seriously, come on, man.
So then it was 4-0, and then I'm like, you know what? Let's just watch this movie. We watched a movie. It was all right. It was a Jake Gyllenhaal movie where he's a 911 operator. And then when that was over, I went and checked the Twitter feed again, and the Braves were up 9-2 in the ninth inning. And Stephanie's like, well, let's turn it on and see the final out. And I'm like, no, they've done this well so far. They've gotten 26 outs without us. We don't need to watch it. So that's where I'm at mentally. But I feel like I'm doing it for the fam. I'm doing it for the team.
Doing it for the A.
The only game in this series I've watched intently from start to finish, every pitch, was Game 3, and they lost in heartbreaking fashion. So I feel like I'm doing everybody a favor, all the Atlanta fans, by not maybe watching every single pitch and trying to not care. Either way, Aslan, they
Corey,
put themselves in great position, right?
Corey, you're too
They're not as good as
intelligent.
the Dodgers. I know it doesn't matter.
But
It's
the Dodgers, this isn't wake up tomahawk chop. But, they no Max Muncy. Justin Turner is going to be out, I think, for the rest of the series. No Clayton Kershaw.
No Trevor Bauer.
Yeah, so, again, listen, like the Dodgers are still very dangerous, but this ain't This ain't Brady Clark's
it's not
adolescent
the juggernaut.
Dodgers.
Yeah, it's not the juggernaut it would have been in May when they had Kershaw, Bauer, Muncy, Justin Turner. Yeah, no, I got it. And then you start thinking ahead, and you can't allow yourself to do this as a Braves fan. You're like, okay, the Astros are up 3-2 in that series, and they're without their ace for the rest of the season. Like, he's done, McCullers. So you would be facing the Astros without their best starting pitcher. But my point being, what can you do if you're the Braves? You're up 3-1 against a team that won 106 games, and you've got your 3 best guys set up to go in a row if you have to. Meanwhile, the Dodgers are throwing a bullpen game on Thursday night. They were throwing a bullpen game. You're throwing Max Fried, who's been your best pitcher all year and one of the best in the league the last 3 months. So it's all set up, man. It's all you can do is set yourself up and go win a game. So that's what we're hoping for. I'll see how much I actually watch of this game. I think we might actually be at Corner Pocket on Thursday night, Steph and I, because she wants to watch the Browns. So I'll probably have no choice but to peer over at the Braves game. But
Case Keenum, let's go.
Yeah, that's right. So, yeah, that's you're getting a little insight into Corey Clark as an actual fan. And it's I need some therapy. There's no doubt.
Yeah, you're too smart. You've been around this too long to know. I mean, I've got a chair in the house that I've made my last 2 game picks on, and they've won the last 2 games. So it's like, do I need to make all my game picks on that chair now? Everybody's yelling, yes,
right.
Aslan. No,
of course.
My UMass pick is going to be made on a sofa, and it's not going to affect anything. It's not going to affect anything. It's not going to affect anything. It's not me. It's not me.
So I don't believe in the jinx as much as I believe just in my heart rate and my stomach. Like, it's just, I don't know how people do this, man. I don't know how, at least like Red Sox fans, they've won a few. They've felt it. Like, it's been so long since we won one of these things. And I just don't understand how. It's just tough. And when I was done watching Game 3 and they gave up the bomb to Bellinger, I'm like, see, that's why I don't watch games. That was misery. I was miserable for 3 hours waiting for them to blow a lead, hoping they wouldn't blow a lead, and then watching them blow a lead. And I'm like, you know what? I'm going to be positive. I'm going to stay positive. I think they're going to win this series. Doesn't mean I have to watch every pitch.
Well, that's why. Anyway. Isn't that why 2013 was so magical? That there was we didn't break out in sweats. Our heart rate was steady all up until the final game, which all right, finally, let's give us a little bit of stress. Give us a little bit of stress so we can enjoy it more. That's why 2013 is always just so magical.
Yeah, I think there were maybe 3 sort of stressful moments. Was Boston College? I mean, you're down 17-3 in that game, and they were kind of running all over you and doing all the throwback passes. And then I think you're up 17-7 against Clemson, I think, and then you're up 17. No, they score, and then Jameis throws an interception where the receiver ran the wrong route because he got the wrong signal in, which would have been a touchdown. And there, you're 40, and it's 17-7, and then I think that's when LaMarcus Joyner picked off one of his passes, and then Rashad Green took the little slant to the house. That's when you felt good about that one. But there were a few moments, not many. That Clemson game when it was 17-7, and then the Boston College game. But yeah, for the most part, you showed up. Those are good feelings, right? When you show up. Yeah, I felt it Saturday in Athens. I'm not nearly as big a Georgia fan as you folks are Florida State fans. But I was like, man, this is cool. I know they're not going to lose this game. There's legitimately, they're watching after the first 3 or 4 series. I'm like, there's no chance they're losing this game. This is a cool feeling. And it is. So that's fun.
No rain, no rainbows, somebody once said. So
right.
Cleaning up the bottom of the mailbag on the Renegade Express. Gator Kirk did put this in the Renegade Express, but I thought we talked about it. He asked about, you want us to give him a firm answer to a question without any hypotheticals. What's the ceiling for total wins? But I thought we talked about total wins. He did come back, though, to say that, Corey, be aware that mollywop is a word.
Oh, good.
To hit extremely hard with an open or closed fist. Gator Kirk does double back later on to say, a lot of talk about the offense and scoring for the game this week. What point total would be acceptable for the first team defense to allow this weekend?
I mean, 10 points, couple scores, I guess. You should dominate them up front. You should beat them so badly up front that they should not be able to run the ball at all. And they're going to hit some passes on you because it's 2021. But that quarterback should theoretically be running for his life, and should not get a lot of clean windows and a lot of time to throw. So I would say, I don't know, 7 to 14 points is acceptable. If you're giving up 3 touchdowns to UMass, man, come on now. That's not a good sign move. Because as bad as Clemson's offense is, I can promise you there's more talent on that offense than what you're going to be seeing on Saturday. And you can't be giving up mid-20s to Clemson or you're going to lose that game. So just as a sign of what you're hoping to see, I would say no more than a score or two.
Yeah, there's nothing defensively that they have on PFF that's to the 60 grade, which is, again, that's what you kind of start off with. Just write your name correctly on the SAT. Just show up and you get a 60. There's nothing they have defensively. And then offensively, UMass, their run attack, though, 75, so watch out. Watch out. Yeah, I was going to go 52-6 was my prediction, but then I think everybody said 52 points. I think Tom said 52 points. Gene said 52 points. And so I'm going to walk it back slightly. Let's say 49. And I don't know. I think they might score like 20, UMass. I think they could score like 20. I thought they were going to cover Florida State, but now more I think about it, 35 is kind of a big number. You actually just have to hammer them on the defense, which goes to Gator Kirk's question. I just don't know. I do wonder with an off week, and I think they got Liberty the following week. And listen, they're an independent team. Nothing, they got no hope of anything. There's no sneak into a conference title game. There's no bowl eligibility. They're done. They are who they are. They got their one win. They're probably breathing a sigh of relief. So I just do wonder with the guy the head coach that is so offensively oriented, even though their offense, again, just overall is a 53 grade on Pro Football Focus. We've seen this team still, get confused on occasion. They still did get confused on a couple throws in the Syracuse game. They might be able to scheme up like 17 points, like 3 scoring drives over the course of a game. So,
yeah, but you're hoping that it was the first team defense. And you're hoping your offense is doing enough that by the middle of the third quarter, your first team defense isn't out there. So I'm just talking about
I know, but he's not gonna wait to run his trick plays when the game is 49-3, right? You know what I mean? So,
all right, well, to me that wouldn't be a great sign if UMass puts up 20 points against your first team defense after only allowing 25 to North Carolina. That's just not a good sign. Now you can say they're looking ahead. This team doesn't deserve the right to look ahead to anyone, and they should absolutely. If they can't dominate that offensive line and make it impossible for them to run the ball, then we might have to pump the brakes on what we expect for the rest of the season. But it's also natural if your offense is moving up and down the field, which you hope this one does, and you're up 28-0. It's also natural to relax a little. It'd be nice if they didn't, but it's also natural. Well, hopefully it's a problem we're having to talk about.
Well, 10 points, that used to be the benchmark for Mickey, right? It was like, all right, teams won't score more than 10 on us. And that was obviously a different era, but maybe that's what I think. Anything more than that, if UMass gets in the end zone twice on your starters, that'll be kind of a bit of a bummer. I mean, they scored 7 on Toledo. I don't think they scored a touchdown against Coastal Carolina, who got upset by App State on Wednesday night.
Yeah,
shout out Sunbelt.
3.
Thank you so much for putting football on a Wednesday night. For real,
opposite the Bravos.
It's just there's like football.
There's the Braves were on, Aslan. That's what you were watching. Was the Braves? You're watching for me. You're my window.
I put it on when it was 5-2. And who's the guy? Not Camargo. Who's the guy that went crazy on Wednesday night? Rosario. Saw him go nuts, hit his second home run, and then I think I saw Freddie.
That guy was just a throw-in at the end of the trade deadline because he was still on the IR or IL. Like they didn't even know what he was going to be this year. So yeah, that was good. That's good to see. The Braves don't usually have something like that happen. Like it usually happens against them that some guy that you weren't really even counting on. The only reason he's playing is because Soler has COVID, and then he comes on and he's the first player in MLB history to have 2 4-hit games in a 3-game span in the postseason. Eddie Rosario. So hey, man, maybe you start seeing these things, and I'm allowing myself to get a little hopeful. Maybe it is the Braves' year for crying out loud. Come on now. Believe. Everybody listen to this. I know the game's already been played by the time you're listening to this. If they lost on Thursday night, which is a distinct possibility, give us some hope for Saturday night or Sunday. Come on now. I need all your goodwill. I need all your positive thoughts.
No, save it for Clemson. It's gonna work out.
Right.
It's gonna work out. Island Chief had a question about aNalyTics. We seem to have diverged from a strict adherence to those principles as this season has progressed. More data, of course, provides for more informed decisions, but do we see more or less of that going forward? Zaxby's, DeLuna, and like. Have we, I guess, fourth downs, have we calmed down on?
Is that what he means, just the fourth downs?
I guess. I mean, his question's about analytics.
So I guess, I was thinking what else that could be. There were two times in that game where he could have gone for it. But so it was coming out of the locker room when you were up, what were you up at half against Carolina? 21-10, right?
Yeah.
And then you get the ball and you have a 4th and 1 at your 20 or I think your 29 or your 34-yard line. He could have gone for it then. Maybe Mike Norvell a month ago does go for it. And then the same thing when they had whatever the lead was, 35-17, and then they had to punt it back. It was another 4th and 1 where you thought they might think about going for it. But in that instance, especially the second one, it just wouldn't be smart because it's not worth the risk. Like, yes, getting the first down, you milk another couple minutes off the clock. But if you don't get it, you give them the ball deep in your own territory, and then they can score very quickly, and now you're in a real game. So, we didn't ask him how much he thought about going for it. I don't know if it's analytics or just the flow of the game, because it's ridiculous, right? It's ridiculous to, in my opinion, as much as I believe in some analytical thought, to just have a hard, steadfast rule. If it's 4th and a foot or 4th and a yard, I'm going for it, no matter what. It could be at our 9 or 10. I guess it couldn't be at the 9. I'm going for it. It's crazy. You got to know the context of the game. And I think in that game against North Carolina, it made sense in the way, as well as the defense was playing, it made sense to move the ball back and then have them have to drive the length of the field because they weren't proving they could do that. In another game, maybe say against Florida, who I think is probably the best offense you're going to face from here on out. If you have a 4th and 3 at midfield and you're down 17-7 and you haven't really stopped their offense, well, that changes the way you think. So, I think maybe it has more to do with the flow of the game than actual hard data one way or the other. Make sense? Or did I just ramble for 3 minutes?
No, it does. Reason? I don't know what would have to happen for me to really jump all in, like feet first, just blindly in love with analytics. I think it's really affected the way the game is played and the way I enjoy football. So I kind of just hold animosity towards it. This whole, because you can always hide, I don't want to say hide behind, but it's always like, I'm coaching to win. We're playing to win. Like what the Bills did on Monday night, going forward on 4th and 1 to, ice the game. I was fine with that. I mean, that makes sense. You got a guy who's 6'5", 245 pounds. You should be able to sneak it for,
Well, yeah, to win the game. That was to win the game, yeah.
But that just, whenever it goes wrong, it's like, I coach to win. I thought that right now the number said to go for it, so we went for it. It's like, well, you know what, man? Like the Steelers could have gone forward in overtime on Sunday night, but they punted the ball away and they played defense, and they got a strip sack out of it, and ended up winning the game. Like you're allowed. I know everything's stacked up against the defense. So I'm almost speaking out of both sides of my mouth. Like everything is skewed towards offenses being able to put the ball in the end zone at an alarmingly high rate. It's too easy. You give Aaron Rodgers or Tom Brady 27 seconds with no timeouts and the ball in the 25. I don't know, your win probability is barely over 50%. That's ridiculous. But anyway,
they'll at least get into field goal range.
Yeah.
That's just how it works. Yeah.
But I digress. Just like, hey, man, you can still punt the ball and you can get a rough in the punter, or they can muff it, or, they can get a block in the back and they'll push them even further back. There's things you can do when you go on the defensive that'll still help you win a football game.
Well, don't you also think, we gave Jimbo a hard time, and deservedly so on some moments, including the loss to North Carolina in 16, where Ricky Aguayo set the all-time NCAA record by missing 3 field goals in the first quarter because Jimbo just would not go for it. 4th and 2, 4th and 5, 4th and 7. No, we're taking the points. It's like, well, know your defense, man. You're not playing with the 2013 defense. You're going to need points to win this game. That's how Florida State got down in that game 21-0. You're averaging 6 yards a play or 7 yards a play. Why would you not go? Why would you be scared, little baby scared on 4th and 2? Or 4th and 5. You're averaging 7 yards a play. And your defense is horse manure, which that 16 defense was at that time. It was playing terribly. It was coming off the Louisville, South Florida game. And then he's still kicking field goals in the first quarter with a bad field goal kicker against an offense that's just marching up and down the field against your defense. It didn't make any sense. I just think it all has to do with context. I think we're getting to a point where coaches aren't as scared to go for it on fourth down as they used to be.
It's because people like you are likely to write something critical about them when it blows up in their face because they know they're not going to. It's all about getting criticized, man. Yes, it's about winning, but they need to be able to explain these things to their team and explain to their bosses.
But I don't think Jimbo was about that life. I don't think Jimbo was worried about being criticized. I think he thought that was the best way to win a game, was to end every possession with a kick. Don't get points. This has been a 50-yard drive. We need points. The problem is you got to know your kicker. You got to know the situation, and you got to know your defense. All that should factor in. It can't just be, okay, if it was 4th and a yard, we'd have gone for it. But that 4th and 2.5 or 4th and 2, we can't go for it now. Let's try to get these 3 points. No, the touchdown's more important. It's worth the risk in that instance when you have a bad defense. When you're Georgia, you don't really need to ever go for it on your side of the field. Ever.
No.
You don't. You make that team go 80 yards to try to beat you. Now, Georgia has a very good offensive line and a good running game, so it still kind of makes sense to do it, but make a team go 80 yards to beat you. You know, Jimbo had all those stats. I don't know if he made them up. It sounded like he made them up, but he'd say make it a team having to go 80 yards scores a touchdown 13% of the time. A team having to go 45 yards scores a touchdown 50% of the time. So those are analytics too. Like, those analytics should matter, too. I don't know if I made those numbers up, but I bet it's close. So, you know, there's a lot that goes into it. I know this was just a question that shouldn't be this long of a response, but I think we'll see moving forward. Like, he was in control of that game against North Carolina, and he felt good about his defense. Let's see when he's in a closer game in the fourth quarter, or let's see if they feel like they're getting behind big in the first half, if he changes his way of thinking and does what he did earlier in the season. Because I don't necessarily have a problem with it. You got to make sure you have the offense to do it. But I also think he did not trust that defense at all when he was doing some of that stuff. Now he does, at least a little bit more. So maybe now he's thinking, okay, it is hard to go 80 yards against our defense. Not impossible, but they don't make it as easy as just ABC. So let's make them go 80 yards as opposed to give them the ball at our 45 or give them the ball at our 38 or something.
Over under UMass goes for it on fourth down 3.5 times.
Do you have their numbers of how many times they've done it?
I don't, but I can look it up.
I would say
look it up.
I would say, unless for some reason it's close, I would say under. I think they're here to get a paycheck. They're here to get healthy or stay relatively healthy. I think they want to probably try to shorten the game and not get beat by 70 points. And the way you get beat by 70 points in a game like this, and again, I know I'm talking about Florida State, who hasn't beaten anybody by 70 points in 8 years, but really, really get blown out is to keep giving the other team the ball at your 30. So I think I would say under, unless it's a close game. But I don't know. Walt Bell might go for it 6 times a game. I haven't looked that deep into their stats.
They've gone for it 11 times. They've converted 5.
Yeah, and what's their record?
1-5.
Yeah, so and they've been blown out a lot of those. Like, it's not like they played a lot of close games. So I would say under. They're going for it right at about 2 a game. I don't know why this game would be any different.
Do you think there's we have a guy that actually helped make a score prediction. I grabbed the guy from the UMass beat. I haven't looked at the video yet, but he made a score prediction. And he actually did this monologue about the angst the Florida State fans have at Walt Bell and how he even says like this. I don't think it's much of a homecoming because there's only one coach that he coached with that's still on staff down there, and there's like less than 10. I think he said something crazy like less than 10 players that were here when he was coaching, which I guess doesn't make sense. He was only here for 18. He wasn't here in 19. He was only here in 18. So
right.
You got Bavion, Emmett, Leonard.
Well, I wonder if he's just talking about offense. Like, he didn't coach any of those guys.
Yeah.
So maybe guys that he actually was in charge of in coaching. I mean, it would be like, Helton, Pokey, Bavion.
Jordan Young.
Jordan Travis, right?
Nope. Jordan Travis came in 19.
He did? He wasn't around 18, huh? No, I guess he wasn't. Yeah, so there's not many. Trayshawn?
Nope.
Or Trayshawn was 19, too.
That's a Willie game.
Yeah, no, so it's been, not a lot. Brady Scott. Don't forget Brady Scott.
Correct. Correct. Yeah, we always have like Baby Allen being an old guy. We never talk about old Brady, and Brady's been out there getting some burn. But I just wonder.
Newly engaged Brady.
Yeah. Dylan Gibbons newly engaged. Love everywhere.
Is he really?
Yeah. He got engaged over the bye week.
He didn't do it on the field. He didn't do it on the field.
He did not. He did not. Did it on a beach. I think outside the.
Okay, there you go, Dylan.
The Don Cesar, maybe the Vinoy. I don't know. I get those confused all the time. There's
That's interesting because I assume it's not somebody he just met since he got to Tallahassee. That'd be a shotgun romance. So it's probably somebody he knew at Notre Dame. So that probably made it tough. Like it's a long-term girlfriend. You're thinking about proposing to her, but you're moving cities. You're going to be 500-600 miles away. I wonder what their story is.
I just wonder how much those come guns a-blazing, for lack of a better term. Because, like, what do they have to lose? Because, I mean, beating Liberty, not that they're going to beat us. Not that they're going to beat Florida State. Not that they're not going to probably win another game the rest of the year. Maybe they beat Maine. Maybe they'll beat Maine. I just don't know what his intentions are for the game. Like, I still think that he's going to.
What are your intentions, Walt?
Because you're not going to win. I still think he's going to try to do crazy stuff just in vain. I don't think he harbors any animus towards anybody here. Because, hell, I don't think David Coburn was even on the job when he was here.
No, there's nobody he shouldn't. And he left. I mean, maybe he was like, hey, man.
Well, he wasn't coming back. Come on, man.
You need to leave. Yeah. But he did take another job. And I don't know what, Florida State was fine to him. I don't think he'd have any ill will towards Florida State. What did he want them to make him the head coach? But you're right. He probably does want to show off a little bit. He would like to put up. So they scored 28 against Boston College. I'm not sure how. I don't know what happened there. Right. I haven't looked at that box score. Maybe they had a kickoff return or a pick six or something. I don't know. But they scored 28 against Boston College, which is their season high. So if they could put up 28 on Boston College, yeah, man, they can put up 28 on Florida State. You would hope they wouldn't because Florida State's playing better than they have all season. But we'll see how seriously they take this thing. And, yeah, I would not be surprised at all with a few trick plays.
Will anything change your mind? Like, do you think when we reconvene on Monday, you'll have because obviously the arrow's pointing up right now.
Yes, yeah. If they slop through this game on Saturday, that changes my mind.
How likely is that though? What's the percent? Like, give me slop through is like what winning like 42-21,
something like that, or 50-30. Like if the defense reverts back to what we've seen, the starters, the first team defense.
Right.
If they revert back to what we've seen, that gives me a lot of pause. If you go back, they played, other than the big kid at Syracuse running wild, they played pretty well now for 10 quarters. They played pretty well. They've been an average to maybe slightly above average, holding the North Carolina to 25 points defense at North Carolina, which nobody does. So with that in mind, if they came back after a week off to get healthy and let UMass, only because they're not into it, they're not trying hard, that would be a bad sign to me. And maybe not even trying hard like on Saturday. I'm sure they want to go out and win and have interceptions. But if they didn't have a great week of practice, or if they're not prepared and they don't look prepared, that's a bad sign to me. Whether you give up 30 or 20, if you give up chunk plays to this team, if you give up multiple scores as a first-team defense, like 3 touchdowns to UMass, that is a bad, bad sign, in my opinion.
Except what has sort of tempered a little bit of my enthusiasm from earlier in the week when I was like, yeah, man, run the table. Let's go. 8-4. Which, by the way, in hindsight, when someone asks, would you rather run the table or the Braves win the World Series, you're right. But like, can you imagine if they did finish the season 8-4? Like possibly 9-4 if they win their bowl game? That'd be incredible. That'd be incredible.
Yeah, I mean, they would finish like 12th in the country. It would be the longest win streak around here in 7 years. And then that means they would start the season next year probably ranked in the top 15. And that recruiting class probably stays intact. I mean, it would be enormous. It would be incredible. Like, people would be talking about Norvell as he'd be getting Coach of the Year votes. Not that anybody's going to win a AP Coach of the Year with an 8-4 season. But if you start out 0-4 with a loss to Jack State and then you run the table and finish with 8 wins, well, you get some consideration, man, because that's almost impossible to do. So, yeah, man, it would again, like I said, for my professional life, it would be better if Florida State ran the table. I mean, imagine what our YouTube channel would do. Imagine what our website would do. Imagine what the numbers for this podcast would do going into next year with all the hype that had been built up from an 8-game winning streak to start the season. Or even I'll take 7-1 to finish it off, Aslan.
Don't get greedy.
I'm not greedy.
Yeah. You're reasonable.
Let's take 7-1. You can lose to Clemson or Florida. Just you can't lose both. And then win the rest.
Yeah, definitely beat Florida. Go out on a high note. But
there you go.
Part of my enthusiasm was kind of tempered by the way that Norvell talked after practice on Wednesday, just about saying that this team is still a little bit immature. And then it's hard to say that's not in a critical way. I just still think it's not going to pop up Saturday against UMass. But again, it's going to be a bit of a grind.
You would hope not. There is a chance though that it could. I mean, it popped up against Jacksonville State, so there is a chance that it could. I don't think it will.
To that end, though, is it even more problematic then, if it does? Because I mean, good gosh, you're talking about putting your hand on the oven and discovering that it's hot. There's no more reckless way of doing that than losing to Jacksonville State and then do something quite similar.
Man, that's what I'm saying. It would be a really bad sign for a team that you think is over that hump. They're not over the big hump or even the second biggest hump, but they should be over that hump about not respecting opponents, not playing hard, whatever it is, like reverting back, feeling too good about itself. All that should be done. Like the floor should have been set above that hump. They should be over that hump. So if they go back down and play sloppily again against the only other team on the schedule they're favored to beat by multiple touchdowns, that again is like, okay, well, how much have you really grown in the mindset department, in the preparation department? If you look like this again, especially off a bye week. I remember Jimbo, the Jimbo show. We need to get him on, Aslan. You should email A&M. When he talked about, I think it was after the 2010 Miami game, which it didn't end up being the case. But when they went down there, they were pretty substantial underdogs. They won pretty convincingly. And he's like, we're never going back. We're never going back to what we are. This is the new standard. And now they did a little dip in 11, but not by much. But that's what I want to see here, man. The message has to be you're never going back to that nonsense from September and from last year. That's done. You're going to lose some games. You don't say this to the team. They're going to lose some games because the talent isn't maybe there to be consistently good. But never going back to that nonsense where you just fiddle fart around for 4 quarters and look lethargic and sloppy and unprepared. Those are done. And that's why I think the UMass game is important. You're gonna be an underdog against Clemson. You might lose by multiple scores, but that's understandable to me because Clemson still has a lot of talent and it's a tough place to play. At home, after a bye week, homecoming against a terrible opponent, if you don't go out there and smash them into the ground and let them just hang around because you're Florida State and that's what you do, Louisiana Monroe, let them hang around. Sanford, let them hang around. Jacksonville State, let them hang around until they beat you. Like, if you don't go out and just hammer this team, okay, well, what have we seen? What growth has been made? That's why I think this game is important.
Because that North Carolina game. Like, this
right.
that wouldn't erase the
build
North Carolina.
on it.
Oh, yeah.
No, it wouldn't, but you build on something, man.
Yeah.
I felt like they built this on the Syracuse game. They stacked a brick on top of that thing. Stack another one. Don't quit taking a step forward and a leap backwards. Or one step forward and a step sideways. This has a chance. I know it's UMass, so you're not gonna go. If you win 63-10, I'm not pouring champagne on myself, but it's still a chance for another step. And keep moving forward. Don't move sideways or move backwards.
Climb.
Move forward. Climb. You know what, Aslan? That's right. How about you start climbing that mountain? Dare I say? How about a little climbing action?
What do you hope to see offensively from Florida State mostly? I mean, obviously points. Like, do we need to get over wanting to see Jordan throw the ball 25 times and complete 18 or 20? Is it just a matter of just seeing him be healthy and just make it through another game, scoring 30-plus points on a team?
Yeah, I mean, you don't want to be too picky. I would like to see a few more of those, like,
I thought he looked in command in the pocket against North Carolina.
Yeah, he did.
He looked like a legitimate, full functioning dual threat quarterback.
Yeah, I would think. Yeah, I agree with that, and I think that when you're talking about what I want to see out of him personally, and really the offense, because I think he's the key to everything, is this will be the first time, probably as a college quarterback, that he goes into a game knowing, expecting that he's going to get good pass blocking and he's going to have time to throw. It's not like he's wearing a green jersey, but it's close. So he should look as comfortable as he's ever been in the pocket because I think they should block these guys. And I want to see what that looks like. Him scanning the field, going from progression to progression. Like, I know he can run for 200 yards if they want him to, but is that viable moving forward? I want to see him take another step as a passer because, yeah, you're right, in the North Carolina game, now some of the passes he was rolling out, but a few of them he was in the pocket and stood tall in the pocket, scanned and made a nice read, progressed, and made a good throw, especially the one to Keyshawn on that crossing route on third down. He looked in command. I'd like to see that again tenfold against this team because there should be no reason to be jittery and skittish. And if he's having to run for his life in this game, then yeah, there's some more problems. But I would like to see that. Like he's like, I don't think they're going to throw it a ton, or maybe they will. But maybe take 20 passing attempts, 15 of them, 16 of them. You actually stay in the pocket and make a solid throw to the guy that's open. That'd be good to see.
UMass Corner Pro Football Focus, 63 pressures. Sounds like a lot.
What is Florida State?
I knew you were going to ask that, Corey. I got to navigate over there. So
right.
63. Oh, all right. Never mind. 121.
And I mean, Florida State's had they've gotten some pressure up front for sure. But I mean, what is Georgia at 400? What is Clemson 215? Like 121. That does sound like a ton. And I don't even think Florida State's. I mean, they're not the 2002 Ravens or whatever year that was. 03.
Well, do you remember the number I told you for Florida State? I already forgot. It's off my
121.
screen. 123 for the Dogs. Man, Nakobe Dean is graded at 90 overall.
Yeah, he's good, man.
90.6 on pass rush. They've got 7 guys that are graded over 80.
Well, then imagine, Florida State's best player by far is a guy that wasn't guaranteed really even a spot in the rotation on that team. I mean, he was probably going to play on passing downs, but you've seen Jermaine Johnson. He's more than a third down rush end, and they didn't have any use for him. Like, yeah, bye, man, go. Have fun. Let us know how Tallahassee is. We'll be all right. Like, that's crazy. Jermaine Johnson is awesome. Yeah. He's a really good football player, and Georgia just has a bunch of them on that side of the ball. And they got another big commitment on Thursday, Aslan. They stole a kid from Texas A&M, a defensive line recruit who was committed to Georgia, then decommitted, committed to Texas A&M, decommitted from them, and is now back a commit at Georgia.
Oh, well,
so it was the old Reedy commit.
I like that. Come back home, man.
Come back home, man. Absolutely, come back home. So yeah, I don't think 60. I guess 60 isn't a ton. So he should have time to throw. Yeah. Let's see what it looks like. Let's see how calm he looks like. Because again, it's UMass. I get it, but it's in a game with people watching in the stands. All that is a confidence builder. Does it prepare him for Death Valley 6-7 days later? A little.
It's
a
3.
Little.
Yeah. I just was saying, let's not act like we're walking into Deshaun Watson 7:30 p.m.
Right.
ABC.
Well,
production.
But that defense is going to be good. Going from UMass's defense to Clemson's defense.
But what offense has they? What they ain't played nobody, Paul.
You're right.
What offense have they seen? They haven't seen the dynamic Jordan Travis, the Sean Gone backfield, the blossoming Malik McClain. By the way, Florida State's played 29 guys on defense this year. Where would you think Kalen? If I told you Kalen DeLoach 17.5, would you think he'd be above 17.5 or below 17.5?
I think it's only because I looked it up the other day because I was looking up how many snaps he had played. It's right there. I would say under. I would say like 18 or 19.
No, he's 25th out of 29
Yeah, but
guys.
How many of those guys have played like 6 snaps? Like of the guys that play, like
he's the
snaps.
bottom. I mean, Brendan, that's played more than 100 snaps, let's say. He's second to last, which is crazy because he seems to be pretty decent, and they seem to like what he brings to the table.
We can't treat these numbers as the gospel.
Analytics, Corey. Analytics.
Well, yeah, but I don't trust who's making the numbers.
I know. I'm kidding.
But what I was going to say is the guy who's the guy, the cornerback that already has 8 interceptions? Is it the Cowboys guy?
Yeah.
Diggs, Stephon
Yes.
Diggs' brother.
Trevon Diggs, yeah.
He's according to PFF, he's like the 31st ranked cornerback in the NFL.
Well, he's very boom bust. He also does surrender touchdowns. So, yeah.
I mean, all right.
But yeah, I'll take the interceptions. Yeah,
He's ranked behind Asante Samuel.
I mean, come on.
The guy's
What's wrong with that?
got 8 picks and 2 have been returned for touchdowns. I feel like that should matter some.
No.
Like Corey Durden, I looked up Corey Durden's numbers. He's like, I think he's second or third on the NC State defense in grade. Mm-hmm. So he's had a nice year. He's had a good, according to Pro Football Focus anyway, he's had a very nice year. He's got 11 tackles. So it's like, all right. I mean, I guess he's doing his job.
11 pressures.
He's doing his job well, and they're good. And they're a good defense, but sometimes the PFF grade doesn't really correlate with what's actually the numbers being produced on a football field.
Yeah. I mean, he's grayed out at 80. That's higher than anybody on Florida State, period. Now look at Cyrus Fagan at 74.9.
Well, come on now. He played a game and a half.
I'm saying, just saying. Wonder how our guy, Jalen Lars Woodby's been doing. We're wrapping this up, everybody. Although you did post a thread about – so, again, what's your score prediction? I know you sent me in a video, but some people don't watch all of our videos. Let them know.
I don't remember what I said. I kind of was off the cuff. I think I said like 51-13 or something.
I think it's like 54.
Somewhere around there.
Yeah,
I think they're going to cover.
Number.
Yeah, I think they're going to cover.
Jaden Woodby 20th out of 38 players that have played.
He gave up a really ugly touchdown against NC State last weekend. Really ugly one. Kind of just fell all over himself. It was in double coverage. He kind of fell all over himself and then knocked the other BC defender down. And the NC State receiver ran the last 50 yards untouched for a touchdown.
Yikes. Yeah, he's graded out at 84 and 87 run defense and tackling, but his pass rush and coverage skills are below the 60 threshold. So can't win them all. Okay. I don't know. I'll go 49. I'll say 49-17. So they won't cover.
So they're not going to cover, but they should win. Man, wouldn't it be cool if they won comfortably?
I'm being contrarian, though. Again, I was going to say 52-6, but then Gene and Tom said 52, and I'm like, I'm going to change it. Plus, again, I don't know. I just started thinking a little bit more about, I do think Walt Bell's going to throw the kitchen sink, which doesn't matter.
Well, what I think Walt Bell will do is, even if they're getting hammered in the third quarter, he's going to want to score some points against FSU's backups. So he'll keep his starters out who've been repping all week to play against Florida State's backups to get some scores in the fourth quarter, like Jacksonville State did. And so I would think that's what he'll do. If they score points, it'll be, I think, that route. Maybe that's when they can get a couple touchdowns late, is because they're playing against either walk-ons or guys that haven't played much at all this season.
I do like it. The Boston Herald headline, UMass coach Walt Bell eyes homecoming at Florida State. Yeah, my wife loved it there. It was a great town. We loved it there. It was a tough 8 months in terms of wins and losses and expectations, but it was a great opportunity for me and my family to be at a place with a great football tradition like Florida State. I couldn't help but let Sam Howell know that going there without me would be a crucial, grave mistake for he and his future. I hope people can look past that.
That's an onion. So I'm guessing that last part you might have paraphrased.
Yeah, a little freelancing. So, yeah, I think their quarterback's banged up too. Who knows where they? But yeah, man, freshman quarterback Brady Olson completed 10 of 22 against UMass. But anyhow, all right, enough of that. Let's go out on some hoops, I guess. You talked a little about it on the live show, but you posted the thread on the Tribal Council. Don't want you to regurgitate all that because you have to pay for that kind of content. But for the folks that might have missed the live show, some people don't like the live show. They think it's too aggressive with all the sound effects. I get it. But it kind of just, it's Sabado Gigante. You can't make Sabado Gigante go low octane. It's a TV show. I mean, the live show's a TV show that gets adapted into a podcast. So, can't win them all.
Right.
I said that twice in the last 30 seconds. But anyhow, hoops team, what are we doing? Are we going Elite Eight? Elite Eight, Corey, second weekend, at least Sweet 16? What do we think?
We'll see. I think they're going to be a very good shooting team, or have the chance to be. It's all about health, Aslan. I think Hamilton's biggest concern is maybe what he's going to do with the 5. He's got 3 7-footers. McLeod is 7'4". I mean, it's crazy. Just incredible sized human being. But none of them have any real experience at this level, and he wonders what he's going to have to do if those kids can't play at the level they need him to defensively. Like you play Malik Osborne at the 5, you go small. How does that affect things? But yes, he thinks they have a chance to be as good or better defensively than they were last year. And last year they had, Raekwon Gray, who was a very good defender for his size, and Scotty Barnes. By the way, Scotty Barnes, 12 points in his debut. I think he had 9 rebounds, too. Also had 6 turnovers. And they lost. Going to have to stop that. And Devin Vassell led his team in scoring with 19 points off the bench for the Spurs. So shout out to those Noles. What was funny, though, the Cleveland kid, first time I've gotten to see him in person, he's smooth, man. He can move. He runs well. He's very athletic. He's 6'7", and he's got a nice shot. I don't know if he's going to be a great shooter this year, but the makings are there. Jalen Worley, the other big-time hotshot freshman recruit, gonna have to wait a while on his shot to come. Not the prettiest thing you've ever seen. No rotation at all, as far as I can tell, which is crazy. He's an elite, high-level basketball player. You would have thought somewhere in the last 18 years somebody would have taught him, no, man, you're supposed to spin it when it comes out of your hand. But I feel like
would you have changed Lonzo Ball's shot? You're saying coming out of UCLA, you would have.
The thing with Lonzo Ball's shot is when it was in the air, it was actually doing what it was supposed to do. It was rotating. Yeah. His form was just all goofy. But this kid seems to have nice form right up until the point where he doesn't snap his wrist or it just comes off his hand weird. But he's got a lot of growing to do in the shooting department, which is a point guard at a college level is a pretty important thing. But he does a lot of other things really well. I think Leonard, I was even talking to Leonard about it, and he said he had a little Trent Forrest in him in the sense that Trent couldn't shoot either coming out of high school, but could do all the other things well. Defend, rebound, pass, take a rebound and go coast to coast, like be athletic, care, like all that stuff. Worley's got that in him, so he has a chance. Him and Raekwon Evans will probably split the point guard. But yeah, man, I think that Cameron Fletcher is very impressive athletically. And then I was telling Ira, because Ira was out there too, I'd swear if you put Anthony Polite, just watching him go through these drills, if you put Anthony Polite in the corner and without anybody guarding him and say shoot 100 threes from this spot in the corner, I think he'd make 90 of them.
He's got that Ray Allen in him. He's got that Ray Allen.
It's crazy. It's like an automatic. It's just like muscle memory. Does it in quick and doesn't even come close to missing. Like I didn't see him miss from the corner, and he took like 14 threes that I saw, and he didn't come close to missing. Malik Osborne, very good shooter. I think that's going to be a strength of his game. And Wyatt Wills can shoot. So you've got with Caleb Mills, who didn't practice because he had allergic to reaction to something, which I said on the live show. I stopped counting after he made 28 straight free throws. He can really shoot too. You've got 4 veteran guys with Wilkes, Polite, Osborne, and Mills that can shoot and can play at this level and can shoot at this level anyway. It's the other guys, Cleveland, Fletcher, the new guys that have to kind of fill in the roles. But yeah, man, I think they're going to be good. What I thought was funny though, Aslan, because it's message board, it's internet life. Mm-hmm. On that, I went onto the hoops board on Warchant and typed up my observations. I'm looking over it now. I guess it's probably 1,000 words, close to it.
Strong.
Just about everything I saw, some of the practice drills they were doing, 1,000 words, insight, like real insight into how they practice and who looked good. And the first response is from a poster that says, "Everyone be very quiet. What we have here is a rare Clark outside its natural habitat. Try your best not to spook it. He already feels disoriented without yard markers for reference."
Oh, first part was funny. I thought he was talking about the fact that you sometimes maybe don't respond all that much on the boards. But
no, it was because I'm football, not basketball. Which, again, I think he's doing it as a joke, even if he's not. I mean, he posts all the time. I would think he knows that I'm around the basketball boards when it's basketball season, and I covered the team, as well as I could hope. But yeah, of course that's the first post. Not like, hey, man, thanks for all that. It's like, hey, why aren't you talking about football? What are you even over here for?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I know.
Carpetbagger?
He's hardcore hoops guy. I mean,
that's fine, though. Florida State needs more of them. But I thought it was very funny that was the first response was, not like, hey, good write-up or even bad write-up or this doesn't tell me anything. Just,
hey, thanks for that. Thanks for that. I know that you guys are trying to cover more,
No, but it's just that's natural, man, right? Yeah. That's life. That's life in 2021 on the internet.
It is well said. All right, that's a wrap for us. Don't forget, live happy hour. If you can't be there in person, which you should, you can actually see Corey Clark in his natural habitat, a sports bar, with Jeff Cameron, talking about all things Florida State. 5 to 6 p.m. Corner Pocket in Tallahassee, Florida, Appalachia Parkway is the roadway it's on. I don't know the actual physical address, but just put Corner Pocket in your device. It'll get you there. And if you can't be there, watch it live on our YouTube channel, Warchant TV. There's score predictions from everybody on staff, Jeff, Tom, Ira, Gene, Austin, Corey, and myself. You can actually get Corey's real legitimate score. It'll be there, right there on your screen. So check that out. Thank you so much for listening to the show. It's UMass week, everybody. We tried. I don't know. Could have been better. I'm sorry. Clemson next week, though. We'll be on it. We will be on it. He's Corey. I'm Aslan. Thanks for listening to Wake Up Warchant. Fueled by DeLuna Coffee. Come explore our world of coffee. DeLuna Coffee features over 24 different blends. DeLuna's unique roasts can be delivered ground finely for drip coffee makers, coarse for the craft crowd, untouched as a whole bean, or even in convenient K-Cups. Founded in 2014 by the Lemmix family, Ed and Brett are FSU alums and boosters who are extending a special offer to all listeners. Use the promo code WARCHANT15 for a 15% discount. Visit DeLunaCoffee.com and check out their Facebook and Instagram.